Hello again, this is India Tonight. Now, Wanderlust, it's a strong desire to travel. That's what Wanderlust is. And it seems as though Indians seem to have it for Vietnam right now. That's a favorite destination. And so much so that the number of Indians flocking to that Southeast Asian nation has gone up. It has increased 2.5 times compared to what we've seen just 5 years ago. Then after Vietnam, which are the other favorite destinations that the outbound Indian tourist is opting for, one would be the United States and the third would be Japan. But why are trends changing? What is emerging as the fastest growing trend when it comes to the outbound Indian traveler? And moreover, what does it tell us about the Indian economy? Let's discuss this with Sankalp Agarwal. He's the founder and director of TravelTriangle. He's joined by Neeraj Singh Dev, the executive vice president for e-commerce India and short-haul holidays at Thomas Cook and SOTC. Great to have you with us this evening. And of course, we are looking at trends which are changing, not just emerging, but they are changing in a big way. When we talk about the important destinations for the outbound Indian traveler, Sankalp Agarwal, which are the biggest shifts that you've seen in recent times, and why do you think that's happening, that Vietnam is emerging as the top tourist destination, followed by the US, which of course is not cheap by any measure, and Japan, which is also not inexpensive?
Thanks, Vikram. So, one of the things which I will add into the destination is also South Korea, right?
Right.
So that is happening because, because on Netflix, we are seeing now much more Korean series, etc. So people are getting to know about,
Yes.
that country as well, more than what the previous generation knew. So all these four countries are seeing an uptick because they provide the differentiation to the new age traveler, right? Who is having a higher disposable income, which is because of, the rapid growth of the Indian economy, right? And the folks are looking forward to have a differentiation factor in their holidays. They don't want to be just go to the run of the mill destinations which previous folks are going. So that is the change which is driving, in my view.
But Neeraj Singh Dev, what does this say about the kind of disposable income that Indians have? Because at a time, we are talking about the pressure on the employment market, that wages are not keeping pace with the kind of inflationary trends that we are seeing in the Indian economy. We're talking about the Indian traveler really spurring the global travel market, aren't we? Why do you think there is this mismatch in perception, and what is actually happening in the travel business?
Thank you, Vikram. Thank you for inviting me on the panel. See, considering the demographics of India and middle income group and upper middle income group in India, I think that constitutes a large chunk of outbound visitors, which every country or every, the tourism board wants Indian, there's Indian, the pie of Indian market. And there is enough and more demand in Indian market, especially from tier 1, tier 2 markets. And as I, always mention that three very important regions for any country, that is accessibility, affordability, and attractiveness of that destination. These are the three key points or three key reasons why a destination becomes popular or why a destination witnesses a very strong growth. You need to have a strong accessibility, connectivity from different tier 1 and tier 2 cities from India. Then you need to have easy, accessibility in terms of visas. Affordability is a very important point. Indians, we are Indian consumers. We always look for value for money, affordable deals, affordable luxury. So, and the attractiveness of that place. Indians are not, who would go on a destination and sit on the beach and read a book, throughout the day.
Correct.
We need a bit of everything. And, we need shopping, we need active holiday, we need some kind of a sightseeing, some cultural programs.
Right.
And at the end of the day, we also need a very good Indian meal.
It sounds like a complete Hindi pot boiler. And we need
Absolutely.
all the ingredients to make a success out of our holidays. Sometimes we come back very tired from such holidays as well. But Sankalp, do tell us about this outbound Indian traveler, why they are choosing destinations outside the country much more than they are within the country. Is the domestic travel, is that taking taking a hit because more Indians are choosing to travel abroad right now to places like Vietnam?
So I think that both the domestic travel and international travel is booming right now, right? So if you see in domestic travel, the religious tourism has caught on the spike after the Ram temple being built, and in the outbound travel, it is typically one holiday which you are looking forward to make it very special on the year. So that trend is picking up, which is pushing the growth in these sectors. But from a big picture perspective, from a satellite view, India has been on the COVID cycle, and the travelers have not traveled that much. So that hunger, that latent market is now coming out, and then they are traveling more and more, and they want to go out with with the money they have got.
Neeraj Singh Dev, by way of the experiences that we were talking about, that Indians, when they travel, they want to get a little bit of everything going. It also means that some of these popular destinations are designing packages that Indians would find attractive, because by way of places like Thailand or even Vietnam or the Southeast Asian nations, they rely a lot on tourism. And if Indians are traveling that much more, the economy is getting spurred by what the Indians decide to come and spend over there. So how are these countries offering that much more to the Indian traveler?
Yeah, so I think very important point which has changed post-pandemic is earlier China always used to be the number one outbound, the travel country which used to send, millions of tourists from China to, the respective countries. What we have seen, the recovery of China is only about 40% compared to pre-pandemic levels, whereas Indian recovery is almost touching 100% compared to pre-pandemic level on the outbound travel from India. So India remains one of the most attractive markets for these countries. And, you would notice that most of these countries have also given, to attract Indian consumers, they have given visa-free or visa on arrival or visa-free to their country, Thailand, Malaysia, and, many other countries, especially one area which I wanted to highlight during this, discussion is CIS states. The countries like Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and then other sides, cities like Almaty, Tashkent. These are the places which are attracting a lot of Indian tourists. They are very similar. They have a very nice weather compared to, the heat in Asia and India. So I think this is a perfect season for holidays. People who are looking forward to go to these destinations.
Yes.
And Indians spend, I think the Indians are one of the biggest shoppers,
Yes.
no less than Chinese, when it comes to, the international travel.
Yes.
And, you would go to the airports, in international airport, whether it is Singapore, whether it is London, Paris, or whether you would see Vietnam, you would see the longest queue of Indians at the VAT refund counter. This means they are the chunk of the people who have done maximum shopping in the foreign destination.
That's right.
So I think, yes, and they constitute, so what it does is, it contributes a lot to the GDP of that particular country.
Correct.
Compared to India, like we are at 6-7% of the overall GDP.
Yes.
But some of these countries which you mentioned, the tourism constitute, over 20% plus to their GDP.
Right.
So that's a, very, very important market for them. And just to add on to the first question which you, posed to Sankalp about India,
Yes.
Versus, Indians traveling outside, I think it is more of a supply game.
Right.
India is still building the supply. India is still building the infra.
Right.
Many of the tourism destinations.
So that might be an opportunity miss as well, because we are still in the process, and we're talking about the pickup in religious tourism as well. Infrastructure is now just growing, and which is what is attracting the Indian traveler. Sankalp, when you look at the kind of trends that are emerging, because I even hear of weekend trips to places like Almaty that a lot of North Indians are going for. So when you consider the demographics, the kind that would go to a certain destination within the country as opposed to others, are you getting that much more color in the kind of people who would choose one destination over another, and for different kind of reasons, whether it's the age factor that helps them decide, it's the money that they would like to dispose, and of course the kind of, whether it's a shopping trip, an experience, how would you differentiate the Indian traveler within our entire large country who decides to go where and for what?
Sure. So I will take a cue from what Neeraj told, right? India is building its supply, right? So when we talk about countries like Almaty and etc., or be it Southeast Asia, right? It's been for last 10 years that the Indian travel agent industry is working very hard to start these destinations up, to build up the attractive packages, holidays in these locations. Now what is happening is that the disposable income is coming across. So people across the country are seeing how and which destination fits into what kind of holiday they are taking. For example, if people are looking for example, corporate holidays, then a lot of them have visited most of the destinations which are available, and they are looking forward to for new destinations. So a lot of destinations Middle East open up. If people are looking for family holidays, right, then they are looking for fun and the everything combined value package, which Neeraj has also highlighted.
Yes.
Right. So for that, Southeast Asia becomes the big game. But
Right.
if they're looking for, something differentiation, a very big differentiation, right? So Japan has been an amazing, beautiful country for years, but now it is picking up, right? So the supply has already been there, but the spending power has come now. So that
Right.
spending power is basically pushing people to Japan more. So,
Right.
it is, different type of people, different kind of choices,
Yeah.
and they choose basis that.
So, Neeraj Singh, if this trend continues, if the Indian traveler's ability to spend that much more on holidays, take as many more holidays in the future, keeps rising, then how do you expect the international travel market to change, to gear up for that future trend where Indians are going to take to travel that much more?
I think it's a fantastic question, Vikram. What I see whenever I meet international trade bodies, whenever I meet the the international the destinations or the countries, what they have built is they have every country has built a plan for Indian travelers for next 5 to 10 years. So everybody is gearing up. You have more the Indian restaurants coming in every city, more facilitation points coming for India-centric strategies being built by all these countries. As I said previously, every country is looking for Indian customers. They know that the Indian customers, they spend a lot in terms of the food, the beverage, the shopping,
Yes.
compared to Chinese visitors, for example. Just to give you a small, trivia, when Chinese, a traveler would travel to a foreign destination, these people invest on hotel. They invest less on food and beverage because most of the time they would like to have their own local food.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But whereas an Indian customer, when he travels, not only he would like to have an Indian meal at an expensive Indian restaurant, but he would also like to, experiment with local food,
Correct.
local wine, the local beverages.
Yes.
And on top of it, I think the Indians want to cover all the experiences.
Yes,
So
that's
they are
true.
not the ones who are going to sit back in the hotel,
Yes.
but they would want to do at least that 8 to 10 top experiences of that country.
That's right.
That means
Yes.
more dollars spent and more, more money to the exchequer of the, that country.
And Sankalp, do weigh in on this very quickly because we are running out of time. How do businesses like yours stand to gain as the Indian traveler gets that much more adventurous, is willing to spend that much more, and is open to newer experiences?
Like TravelTriangle is out to gain there because we are making personalized holidays for everyone, right?
Yes.
So
And
for
that's the
each
trend.
one, there is a different holiday plan which we specialize for. So if a couple is looking to visit, one of these destinations versus, elderly parents are visiting these destinations, so we make those plans specific to them. So for us, getting new destinations, people trying more things
Yes.
at the destinations, doing more things to their own interest is something which works in our favor.
It certainly does, and lots of businesses like yours are gearing up for the kind of rise we are likely to see in Indian travelers. They will get that much more demanding. There is going to be more power for the Indian rupee as they travel that much more, and they will be welcomed by these countries with more and more incentives, with more and more reasons to come there and spend big money to spur their tourism economy. We are very happy with the trend, and of course, we will keep watching it grow. Sankalp Agarwal, Neeraj Singh Dev, many thanks for joining us with your perspective on the travel business. Thanks indeed for joining us on India Tonight. And we're completely out of time on the show, but of course, we will be continuing with
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.